This one's by Cash Jordan, and Cubans launch wait, what? Is this happening? Island-wide rebellion, and Trump tells the communists you're finished. Wait, real?
We are now learning a new U.S. aircraft carrier is moving into the Caribbean among more U.S.
Dude, chat, isn't that fucking huge aura? Like, isn't that just aura? Just like the big fucking carrier in the front, like flanked. It's like the boss showing up with his lackeys. You know?
We are now learning a new U.S. aircraft carrier is.
It's like so badass, you know. Like,
moving into the Caribbean among more U.S. pressure against the Cuban government.
So, a massive U.S. armada is now within striking distance of Havana. And Cuba's former dictator has just been hit with U.S. criminal charges, which is the same thing that happened to Venezuela's former dictator before he woke up one morning in a New York City jail. And when you add to all this statements by U.S. officials that Cuba's communists are out of time, it's not hard to guess what happens next.
U.S. Southern Command posting this video of the Nimitz carrier strike group on X this Wednesday. Today, the New York Times was the first to report that the strike group will stay in the Caribbean for at least a few days as part of the Trump administration's pressure on the Cuban regime to change their government system or face possible military action.
Look, it's a failed country. Everybody knows it. They don't have electricity. They don't have money. They don't have really anything. They don't have food. And we're going to help them along, and we're going to help them because, number one, I want to help them. I don't want to on a humanitarian basis, but...
Wait, is that person like, yo, I got a piece of bread? Was that person... Hold on. So you're telling me, guys, in the United States, poor people flash stacks of cash and thinks that we're awful and that America's awful. Meanwhile, in Cuba, they're flashing bread. It's like bling bling. I got some fucking bread. You know what I mean?
They don't have money. They don't have really anything. They don't have food.
Oh my God.
And we're going to help them along, and we're going to help them because, number one, I want to help them. I don't want to on a humanitarian basis, but...
Raul is not a defendant. Raul is our leader, a soldier of dignity, an heir to Fidel Castro, and as long as there is a single Cuban man or woman with a raised fist, that infamy will be repelled.
Here's what I can tell you. Cuba not only has weapons that they've acquired from Russia and China over the years, but they also host Russian and Chinese intelligence presence in their country, not far from where we're standing right now.
Other presidents have looked at this for 50, 60 years doing something, and it looks like I'll be the one that does it.
The CIA director was in Havana recently, and look who he brought. He brought with him one of the leaders of the raid that captured Venezuela's dictator. And what nobody's talking about is, although it's clear another extraction operation is definitely on the table, this could all be a smokescreen for something else. After all, we've been hearing for months about how Cuba's island is on the verge of a total collapse. In fact, things are so bad, the communists recently capitulated, agreeing to accept a $100 million aid package courtesy of the United States, which they promised they would never do because of one condition in that package, which might collapse their entire regime without firing a shot, especially if their leaders vanish at the exact same time. So this aid package, the Cuban government is not allowed to touch it. They're not allowed to distribute it. It has to be given to private organizations within Cuba like the Catholic Church, and they're the ones that are gonna feed and help the Cuban people. Which means for the first time in decades, someone else will be the visible source of sustenance for a population that lacks it. And that source will not be the despotic government that rules over this island or their radical military, both of which are scrambling right now because the problem with communism is that any power structure that benefits the people is a challenge, and once a challenge...
Hold on, I have a question. So, like, aren't they like an island? Aren't there, like, fish in those waters? Like, I don't know. I'm asking, like, the real questions here. Like...
challenge to the communist status quo pops up, the regime immediately starts...
And tiger sharks? Yeah, fucking eat them, you know? I don't know, man.
...to lose total control. And if a religious organization, a private business...
Oh, they don't know how. All right, fair enough.
business or an opposition political party succeeds in anything the people view favorably, the pieces are in place for regime implosion. And that brings us to the real reason aircraft carriers are now parked right in front of Havana and why the CIA director just brought the people that were involved in the Maduro raid to meet the Cuban government. This is a direct challenge to the legitimacy of that government.
But see, the only reason though that they're starving, guys, is because of the fucking capitalists. Because the capitalists aren't allowing communism to work the proper way that it was intended, you know? Everybody knows that, right?
And this is something no US president has ever done before. And if an all-powerful justice system swoops in at 2 o'clock in the morning and holds their former dictator accountable for crimes, that right there takes a sledgehammer to the crumbling foundation of this dictatorship, which has imprisoned its population for decades, trapping them in a cycle of poverty there's no escape from. Now, this doesn't eliminate the idea of an invasion of Cuba. This doesn't mean there will not be strikes against their military. Those things could all happen, but listen to the president explain why the aircraft carriers are so important.
Regarding Cuba, there was an aircraft carrier that just arrived there this week, the Nimitz aircraft carrier. Are you sending that there to intimidate the Cuban government?
No, not at all. The Cuba, look, it's a failed country. Everybody knows it. They don't have electricity. They don't have money. They don't have really anything. They don't have food. And we're going to help them along, and we're going to help them because number one, I want to help them, on a humanitarian basis, but we have the Cuban American population, much of it living in Miami and Florida. That's a great group of people, amazing group of people, industrious, they're great Americans. They've wanted this to happen. They want to go back to their country. They want to help their country. I hope they're going to stay here, but they want to go back. They want to invest in their country and, see if they can bring it back.
So here's the question the carrier answers. How do you help the Cuban people who are trapped in their country, cannot leave, cannot get food, cannot get help? How do you help them if the regime in charge of that island has total power over them? Well, you bring in the aid and you bring in the carriers to watch and see what happens. This is accountability 101, something Cuba's lead.
Dude, that's like so scary to them, especially what just happened to Maduro. It's like, dude, they could freaking get his ass and they can deploy the fucking space marines at any time, you know what I mean?
Leaders have never faced before. Certainly not from the Russians, who are all too happy to use their little island 90 miles south of Florida to project power and try to influence and mess with the United States. Oh no, they don't care about accountability. But President Trump's different. He's not trying to shake hands with this regime and appease them like President Obama did in his eerily Chamberlain-esque style just a few years ago, attempting to normalize relations with a regime that's anything but normal and harbors hostile intent towards everyone around them. And now the idea that the people running this country could face justice for crimes they have committed is a signal that everybody in Cuba better shape up fast, and they better start working with the United States to save their own people from the humanitarian disaster communism has created. But that's not the only disaster Cuba has brought to bear in our hemisphere.
Here's what I can tell you. Cuba not only has weapons that they've acquired from Russia and China over the years, but they also host Russian and Chinese intelligence presence in their country, not far from where we're standing right now. Mm-hmm. So Cuba's always posed a national security threat to the United States. They, by the way, have been one of the leading sponsors of terrorism in the entire region. You look at the groups that work out of Colombia that have destabilized that country over the years.
Dude, it's actually unreal to me, like, how cucked America is. Like, am I the only one that thinks this? It's like, dude, like, the whole world expects so much bullshit for us to put up with when, like, we don't have to do any of that. Right? Like, it's so annoying.
With full support from this regime over there. So Cuba's consistently posed a threat to the national security of the United States. And the other thing that poses a threat to the national security of the United States is to have a failed state 90 miles from our shores run by friends of our adversaries.
And the reason that's a problem, not just for the United States, as you heard, but for other countries in South America. Cuba is bad news for our entire hemisphere. They are a safety and security risk for multiple countries, especially us, because they are essentially a home base for our enemies on our doorstep, as they have always been. That's the one thing they've traded for their free oil and free support. But while you see all these U.S. carriers and you look at the successful Operation Epic Fury happening in Iran, there are some people who think that even in the face of the might...
The problem I have with this, by the way, is that, like, we're in a pretty good position right now. Like, we're pretty strong. Like, just be real, right? Like, we're really powerful compared to, like, our enemies right now. Why would we not take advantage of it? Like, I feel like I'm crazy for saying this. Like, why wouldn't we do that? If we have enemies on our doorstep like this, and they're using it as a base, they're using it as a base to spy on us and commit all the and do all these operations, why would we allow it? I don't understand. Because, oh, the rest of the world's gonna be mad at us? Who gives a fuck? Like, who cares, really? Let them be pissed. That's all they do anyway. Like, the UN just gets pissed at us all the time. So it's like, who cares? Not only do they get pissed at us all the time, they suck off all of these regimes that are obviously fucked up. Like, why should we care what they say? Fuck them.
The revitalized U.S. military under President Trump, that Cuba has an ace up its sleeve that could totally wipe out any offensive capability the U.S. has by devastating our economy. And some people say this is why we should leave Cuba alone and just let them continue being a regime.
Reports of a potential threat to our nation from Cuba. Axios is reporting the communist island nation is buying attack drones from Russia.
Look how fucking close that is, man. What the hell?
And Iran. So far, some 300 drones. And the communist government of Cuba recently began discussing plans to potentially use those drones to attack U.S. targets, including Guantanamo Bay and possibly Key West, Florida. Here's retired Navy SEAL Mike Sorelli.
So before we get into the analysis of this drone threat, you've got to understand something. The idea that something could be launched at the United States from Cuba is not a new idea. And there are things that fly faster than drones, further than drones, and are harder to stop, which Cuba has had access to for quite some time. So the idea of a threat against the continental United States has always been there. But now that it's drones, some people are looking at that and saying, oh, see, Trump is getting our country into another big problem. Trump can't stop the drones. It's over because they're a new thing. But listen to this.
The drones are concerning one sourced by both Russia and Iran. Would Cuba make the fundamental mistake of attacking the United States? It would be their doom. For Cuba, what Trump has done is put them into a position where this regime can fall without a shot fired.
Oh.
We saw Maduro in Venezuela go down. Now Iran, another source of financing and material support for Cuba. They are isolated. The best scenario for them is to play ball, or they will lose this regime.
Wow. So this former Navy SEAL says, look, these drones, not a big deal. They're out there, yes. Are they concerning? Yes. But they're not something the United States is going to be easily defeated by. And if the Cuban government launches any sort of attack whatsoever, it's going to be the immediate end of their regime, and it's going to happen faster for them and be worse for them unless they just decide to play ball. They should play ball with the United States.
No, why would we let the drone swarms, like them having no drone swarms yet? Yeah, but why would we let that get to that point? You know what I mean? Like, why would we let anyone tech up to the point that they could beat us? This is why, by the way, I'm very pro-military spending. There's like a lot of people that are like, oh, but like, you know, we could be spending that money on illegal immigrants and on homeless people and for welfare. No, we need the military spending because we need to be on the top forever. Right? And this is why I'm very pro-military spending. I don't understand why we would let our enemies catch up. It doesn't make any sense. Like, we're talking about an existential problem where us being more powerful keeps us existing. Really, this isn't like a small issue. This isn't like, oh, we're going to be a little bit inconvenienced, like tariffs or something like that. This is like, if we let them tech up to the point that they beat us, they could blow us up. It's like completely, they could take us over. That's like completely different. Right? So I just don't know why we should play, we should play friendly with people and actually try to do business and help people that are actually so hostile to us. This doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Should be a peaceful transition here. If this government decides to rise up and fight back and do things to its own people and to try to hurt people in other countries, the end will not be good for them. What does that look like? Does it look like boots on the ground? Does it look like strikes in Havana against military targets? Who knows? It hasn't happened yet. We really don't know if their threat would even get through a U.S. naval armada that has counter.
I'm very much a peace through strength person. Like, it's the only language that it's the only universal language. Lots and lots of guns is the only universal language that the only it's the final communication between anybody.
Measures against these things. And here's how we know the drone threat is being blown way out of proportion.
It's hard to believe that even the 300 drones that they have, and I've actually seen pictures of what they look like, would have the capabilities of penetrating our air defense and actually hitting sovereign American territory. However, it's something you have to take seriously. You know that they have, and there's reports that Iranian, people have come to the country and are teaching them on their technology and how it succeeded in Iran in trying to maintain control of Hormuz and strike U.S. bases. So they're collaborating with our enemies, and they've been collaborating with our enemies, whether it's China or Russia, for decades. Remember that Russia taught...
You know what's a really crazy thought, though? Is we haven't had really a war to the point where people have brought out maximum technology. Like, whatever we have and whatever we're showing... You know, like the things that we did in Venezuela, for instance, where we just dropped a bunch of dudes in and then AoE'd their entire base with like some kind of weapon that just casted hold person on the entire base. Like, that sounds like some crazy alien shit, and that's not even like, that can't even be close to like underneath the water of the iceberg of what we have. Like, if we're willing to show that, if we're willing to like actually show people that we have that, there's no fucking way that we even care about it. Right? There's no way that technology is crazy enough for us to even care about.
Cubans, how to...
And we haven't seen like a war in which that ever happened since like, I guess, World War II, really, right?
China or Russia for decades. Remember that Russia taught Cubans how to spy through KGB training, and that China has been using Cuba as a spy base just 90 miles away. So none of this makes us feel good, and I think Secretary Rubio and his team have done an excellent job.
So this is the former mayor of Miami, and he did say a lot here, but the drones aren't the thing we should be worried about. The thing that we should be worried about in America is a home base for America's enemies, right on its doorstep. And that's the same problem that Cuba has always posed to our country. This is the same power projection base they've always given countries like Russia, who are not our friends on the world.
1,000. We need to say the hegemon of the world. We need to. I mean, who else, right? I mean, like I don't know about you guys, but like if I'm ever in a situation in which I could possibly be attacked by people and I'm surrounded by people I'm not friendly with, I want the biggest gun in the room. And preferably it's like not even that fair. Like preferably it's like I have a Gundam and they have a gun. You know, that's the kind of odds I like, you know?
Whatsoever. That's the threat going on here. And then we find out that the same people running this island are causing mayhem all over Central and South America, destabilizing other countries, teaming up with cartels and gangs like they were doing in Venezuela with Maduro. You can't have a failed state that benefits off crime and corruption and commits crime itself and just...
Like, dude, sorry, I know I'm pausing again, but I just feel so crazy. Like sometimes I feel like I'm living in clown world because it just seems so obvious to me, so basic to me. Like, why do I care about, I'm just being real. Why do I care about everyone else in comparison to my country? Does that make sense? And it might sound a little bit harsh, but like, I'm just being real. Like, everyone else in the world is not my problem. It's just not. It's just not my problem. And it's like, if they're going to be friendly with us and they're going to be like, oh, well, you know, we really like you, America, and, you know, we have a lot to offer you as well. Let's work together because we got skills, you got skills. Like we can make something great, something beautiful. Then like, sure. Right. But like, if they don't like us, they want us to be destroyed. Why the fuck do I care about them? I'm just being real. Like, why do I care? Why do I care about aid packages? Why do I care about giving them money to placate them? I just don't give a fuck. Like, why are we sucking them off so hard? It just doesn't make any sense to me at all.
Let that stand. That's bad for everybody. That is bad for the law abiding. That is bad for people who want to get ahead in life. And that's very bad for people on Cuba, on that island, who can't do any of that stuff.
My father, of course, was the first Cuban mayor of Miami. His father was jailed by Castro.
Even our allies constantly insult America, demanding we fix their problems. You mean like Europe? Yeah, well, the problem is we let them do it. Like, do you really think that Europe would be disrespecting us if we showed that we had any sort of fucking balls? Like, I'm just being real. Like, I don't want to be enemies with Europe. I would prefer to have a friendly relationship with all of our countries that are allies with us. Obviously. But it's like, you gotta tell them, like, listen, man. You can't just keep talking shit or you're gonna get hit. You can't just keep taking advantage. Exactly.
Mayor of Miami. My father was the first Cuban mayor.
And dude, believe me, I feel terrible for everyone in Europe because it is so fucking bad right there. It is so bad there right now. Like, in terms of, like, the government overreach and, like, them being able to throw you in jail just because, like, you said something about some illegal immigrant, dude, or some refugee, dude, it's fucking awful. And I feel really bad for Europe. And, like, I really don't want Europe to be like that because I would prefer to have good allies. I'd prefer to have strong allies. But if people are going to just talk shit and, you know, side with China and Russia over us, then, like, okay, well, then go fuck them then. Like, I don't understand, like, why we would sit in the cuck chair and then let them be like, yeah, but, like, America is so bad, unlike Iran. Like, what? Get the fuck out of here.
Mayor of Miami. His father was jailed by Castro. So we have a long history of opposing the Castro regime and the communist regimes. Why? Because we understand fundamentally that it does absolutely.
Seems our only friend is Israel, even though they too have their own problem. Yeah, I mean, Israel fucks with us too, but at least it's not like in the open. Like, let's be real, guys. Like, as much as like we say that Israel fucks around, let's be real. Everybody fucks around with us. Everybody's fucking around with us, right? Yeah, and Japan is chill with us. Yeah, I mean, obviously, right? Japan's been pretty chill with us. There are a bunch of countries that are chill with us. Like, I think, is it? I think Poland is pretty chill with us. Isn't Poland pretty chill with us? I mean, we're pretty chill with like Argentina right now because of Bukele. We're pretty chill with him too. We're pretty chill with a bunch of countries. But it's just, all of our so-called allies fuck around with us all the time, obviously. Whether that's spying on us, I mean, we do the same thing to them, to be like completely honest. We're doing that to each other, right? But in terms of like the signaling, like, you know, the kind of chastising, I mean, I guess Israel does do it less than Europe. Europe's always talking shit about us, right? So it's kind of
nothing for the Cuban people. The per capita income of Cubans is $5,000 a year. Of course,
and guys, again, I get it. Israel fucks around with us. Everybody knows this. I don't think I have to say it that much.
What we've seen in the Cuban diaspora and the exile community in Miami is a community that's thriving. Miami has the lowest unemployment in America, the highest median wage growth in America. So what's happening?
Sorry, one more thing I have to say though. If I had to pick a side between like Israel and like death to America, pretty sure I'm gonna pick Israel. I'm just saying. But that doesn't mean that they don't fuck around with us. They're both true simultaneously, right? And the problem is like we always have this issue where it's either one or the other. It's either 100% fuck Israel in every single case, 100% like pro-Palestine in every case. It's never like, well, they fuck around with us, but it could be good when they win certain things. Obviously, it's like a little bit of both, right? And people have trouble with that for some reason.
We've embraced American exceptionalism.
You know what? This totally blows communism out of the water right here. The fact that
like you have a lot of people, like kind of the older people that are just constantly sucking off Israel, right? Just sucking them off constantly, right? And then you have other people who are like, yeah, you know, actually, I would rather have like I would rather have Hamas win. Like, what the fuck? Like, I want America to lose in Iran. What? It's freaking... I don't know, man. I just feel like people are retarded on both sides on this issue.
Got the exact same people living 90 miles away from each other, and in one country, they're the poorest in the entire world, and in another country, they're the most successful in the entire world. I mean, come on.
LGBTQ flags and Palestine flag is peak retarded. It's my favorite. Actually, did you know that in the Middle East, they're actually more pro-trans than America? Actually.
This is like everything you need to know about how Cuba's communist government has failed. And it's not the fault of the people. The people are some of the smartest people on earth. And it's not just that you've got a regime here run by criminals. You've got a regime here run by criminals that has embraced a system that impoverishes its people and keeps them in subjection to that government for their entire lives.
Israel doesn't export or produce anything? Oh, I like the X95. Pretty cool gun. It's not bad. Also olives. They got olives, right? They got olive oil.
It's not America's fault that Cuba has failed. It is the fault of communism that Cuba has failed. If Cuba were capitalist, it would be like Miami, but it's not. And look, if you're better off in another country than in your home country, that's a problem. And as you're about to see, that problem is about to come to...
You love good... Dude, I love good olive oil. I buy them local, though. I usually buy olive oil from... I buy domestic olive oil. I think it's pretty good, honestly. These people have their moms take Tylenol while pregnant on purpose. Holy shit, Ryan.
To an end, as our Secretary of State, who's also a Cuban American, is taking things a step further. Listen to this.
Pero sé que hoy ustedes, quienes llaman a la isla su hogar, atraviesan dificultades inimaginables. Hoy quiero compartirles la verdad sobre el motivo de su sufrimiento y quiero contarles lo que nosotros en los Estados Unidos le ofrecemos para ayudarlos no solo a aliviar la crisis actual, sino también a construir un futuro mejor. La razón por la que se ven obligados a sobrevivir 22 horas al día sin electricidad no se debe a un bloqueo petrolero por parte de Estados Unidos. Como ustedes saben mejor que nadie, llevan años sufriendo de apagones. La verdadera razón por la que no tienen electricidad, combustible ni alimentos es porque quienes controlan su país han saqueado miles de millones de dólares. Pero nada ha sido utilizado para ayudar al pueblo. Hace 30 años, Raúl Castro fundó una empresa llamada Gaesa. Esta empresa es propiedad de las Fuerzas Armadas y está operada por ellos. Y cuenta con ingresos 3 veces superiores al presupuesto de su gobierno actual. Hoy, mientras ustedes sufren, estos empresarios tienen $18 mil millones de dólares.
Look at that. So, you have a communist government that controls its entire population, and it allows one business to exist, which is run by the regime leaders and the military, and that is the entity making all the deals, bringing in all the money, controlling everything, enriching itself, while everybody else suffers. That's how communism works. The people at the top, they're always in favor. They always preach it because you know why? All the money goes to them. It doesn't go to anybody else. And the Secretary of State is reminding people in Cuba.
Can I just say, like, man, like, fucking Obama. Am I right, guys? Am I right, though?
That, hey, despite the propaganda from your leaders that says that, hey, all of your hardships are the fault of the United States. I mean, you know you've had these blackouts for years. There have been uprisings in Cuba many, many times, and they have never been successful. Food has always been a problem in Cuba. Why? Because the system they have there does not allow them to buy food. The system they had there relied on free oil from Venezuela. The system they had there relied on being a base where the Russians could project power in our hemisphere in exchange for keeping these guys afloat and giving them a perpetual lifeline. Well, now that lifeline is over. over.
$8,000 millones obtienen ganancias de hoteles, construcciones, bancos, tiendas y incluso del dinero que sus familiares le envían desde Estados Unidos. Todo pasa por sus manos. De esas remesas ellos retienen un porcentaje, pero de las ganancias de Gaesa, nada llega.
That's terrible.
En vez de usar el dinero para
They're
comprar
stealing
petróleo,
from the relatives.
como todos los otros.
By the way, I gotta tell you guys, I'm halfway up on my grip trainer now. So I started all the way at the bottom, and now I'm like halfway through now. Like, what is this? Like, it's like about 40 now. Yeah.
Países del mundo dependieron del petróleo gratis de Hugo Chávez y Maduro para quedarse con el dinero. Pero ahora que dejó de llegarles el petróleo gratis, ellos compran combustible para sus generadores y sus vehículos, mientras que el pueblo se les pide que se sacrifique.
That's so sad.
En vez de usar el dinero para mantener y modernizar las centrales eléctricas que están dañadas,
I just do it while I'm
usan el
watching
dinero para
videos with you
construir
guys.
más hoteles para extranjeros y para enviar a sus familiares a vivir con lujos en Madrid y incluso hasta aquí en Estados Unidos.
This is why the fall of Venezuela has been so instrumental in the current situation in Cuba. That regime was part of a regime support network between Cuba, Venezuela, and Iran. All three of these puppet states of Russia have been keeping each other afloat, evading sanctions together, fueling each other, spreading corruption together, training with each other. In some cases, you had Iran training people inside areas of Venezuela, for crying out loud. I mean, none of this is a good situation. None of it helped the people of any of these countries. And what did we hear when Biden was president? We heard about how bad things were in Venezuela and how that country was just in such dire straits, and that's why we needed to have an asylum crisis. Well, guess what? The reason things were bad over there is because you have these regimes that were powered up by being allowed to be lawless and send criminals all over our hemisphere doing whatever they wanted while keeping each other afloat monetarily, getting around USA. I mean, what a nightmare. That's the situation that we had. We allowed the wrong people to gain a foothold, and what did it do? It did not make the world a better place at all. But now a carrier battle group is parked out in front of Havana.
Yeah,
the
that's so
CIA
cool.
director has made it no secret that regime extraction and replacement could happen at a moment's notice. And this is happening at a time when the people of Cuba are about to get a helping hand from someone other than their government. All of the pieces are in place for things to change peacefully. There does not need to be a military solution here unless the dictators running this place decide that they're not going down without a fight. What do you think is going to happen? I hope peace can come to this island. It's been a long time. People there have been in trouble for a long time. It looks like that could finally end. Let me know. I'll see you in the next video.
Man,
we are now.
Look at that. It's got so much aura. I like the front shot. Hold on. I can find it. Yeah. Oh, fuck.
We are now learning a new U.S. aircraft carrier.
Damn, dude. Did you guys know that that shit is more military power? Like right there. Right there is more military projection power than like most countries. Did you know that? Like most entire countries, like that shit right there can take over countries. That's crazy.